thanks for watching the video. If you could do me and the channel a favor, hop down to the comment section and let me know what decks you guys want me to make next. And while you're down there, if you could drop a like and subscribe, it'd help out a lot. With that being said, enjoy the video and have a great day. What's up everybody, welcome back. Today we have a bit of an odd deck. It is going to be Cornerstone Ogerpon Control. This deck takes a lot of patience to pilot, so not for the weary of heart. Games last a long time, all the time. It's kind of in the middle between a stall deck and a wall deck. And the difference there is with a stall deck, you're trying to basically just wait out your opponent until they can't draw any cards from their deck. And then with a wall deck, you're using things like Cornerstone, Ogerpon, and Mimikyu, but you're still attacking. So you're still dealing damage, trying to get 6 prize cards, but just by really forcing your opponent to not do things, really. But yeah, so let's go ahead and hop right in. So we got one copy of Bloodmoon Ursaluna. This is for late game in case things are going really badly. They're hitting around all your stuff. You just need to get an attack off. More times than not, this will not see any play, but it is useful at times, obviously. One copy of Iron Bundle. This is in it for its Hyper Blower ability, which is once per turn when this Pokemon is on your bench. You may switch it. You may switch out your opponent's active to their bench and then discard this. Your opponent does get to pick the new active Pokemon. But this is just going to get something out of the active that you don't want. Example, if you want to go into a Saw block, which we'll get into right now, you can bring something up. If they have something that'll go around it, you get to get something out of the active, if that makes sense. And then, as I was saying, Saw blocking. So with this Wellspring Ogerpon here, we're only really going to be using the Sob attack, its first attack. You can use Torrential Pump due to the help of Sparkling Crystal, but we're not going to. Sob deals 20 damage, and your opponent's defending Pokemon cannot retreat next turn. Now, we can use this to either just keep something in the active or slowly keep something active and kill it, depending on what we want, because Double Turbo Energy does reduce damage by 20, so it'll just keep things in the active spot. So really nice to just stop your opponent from doing stuff until they get a switch card, basically. We have 4 copies of Mimikyu in here for its Safeguard and Ghost Eye, which is prevent all damage done to this by your opponent's EX and V, so pretty much rule box Pokemon, EX and V, yeah. And then Ghost Eye does put 7 damage counters on your opponent's active, so it's not 70 damage, it's put 7 damage counters on. And that wording can be very important. An example of this would be, again, say an enemy Cornerstone Ogerpon cannot be damaged by things with an ability. Well, it has Safeguard ability, but thanks to it putting damage counters on instead of dealing damage, it can still hit around those. One copy of Fezandipiti. If something of ours gets knocked out and we feel that we need to draw those 3, you're not going to bench Fez and just go, oh, well, I might need it eventually, because this deck, in the nature of most control decks, is you're going to be limiting your opponent, and you don't want this 2 prizer sitting on your bench to get bossed, basically. So only in here for situations that you feel that you need it. If you draw it and you're thinking about discarding something from your hand, you can get rid of Fezandipiti. There are ways to get it back. And we're not just leaving it on the bench for our opponent. One copy of Sandshrew. I haven't seen this guy in a lot of control decks, but I kind of like it. It's primarily for Raging Bolt, for when they try and get their Sadas back with Pal Pad, because Sand Screen makes it so trainer cards in your opponent's discard pile can't be put into their deck by an effect of your opponent's items or supporter cards. So really just countering Pal Pad is my initial thought. It's also going to take care of, I think it's Roseanne's Backup is the card, but that'll be rotating out. That's another thing to mention. This list is going to be totally legal for 2025, because I think, yeah, I took the Double Turbo Energy out, actually, which, I mean, it is going to hurt a little bit with the Sob, but 20 damage isn't a lot. More times than not, we'll be totally fine. Yeah, moving on. We have a 1/1 copy of Toedscruel. So this is in here for its Slime Mold Colony, which cards in your opponent's discard pile can't be put into their hand by an effect of your opponent's abilities or trainer cards. So this is taking care of Night Stretcher. This is taking care of Superior Energy Retrieval, really locking down a lot of matchups that are scary. This one, it's not affected. Super Rod does work. And so anything that goes from discard pile to deck, or from discard pile to bench, or something like that, it won't affect those, but you can't put things into your hand, which is really nice with Toedscruel. 2 copies of Cornerstone Ogerpon EX. Cornerstone stance, so anything with an ability cannot attack Cornerstone. So really, really nice. And then Demolish deals 140 and isn't affected by weakness or resistance or any effects on your opponent's active. So pretty nice card to have in here, I'd say. And then we do have 1 copy of Genesect in here for its Ace Nullifier. If this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached, your opponent cannot play any of their Ace spec cards. So pretty nice. Quite situational. Like, it'll take away things like Prime Catcher and stuff if you're afraid of that. Take away things like Unfair Stamp. Your opponent won't be able to attach Sparkling Crystal. Just a really nice card to just kind of annoy your opponent. If they're playing Goldango, they can't use their Energy Search Pro, stuff like that. And that's it for Pokemon. So moving on to our trainers. 1 copy of Counter Catcher in case we get behind, we can stall them out. 1 copy of Luxurious Cape. So if your the Pokemon this card is attached to does not have a rule box, it gets 100 HP, but it gives 1 more prize card. So this is either going to be going on Sandshrew or Mimikyu most of the time. We can throw it on that Genesect, but more times than not, we're just going to put a Bravery Charm on Genesect. And the reason I like it on Mimikyu or Sandshrew is because it puts them outside of range for that for Dusknoirs, because that's 13 damage counters, and they won't be able to do that. With a Bravery Charm, we're only at 120 and 110, which can still get Dusknoired away. But more times than not, we're going to be sticking that on a Mimikyu here. 2 copies of Town Store to find all the tools in our deck, which there are a few more that we'll get to in a while here, as well as to bump our opponent's stadium or our own, because we do play 1 copy of Lively Stadium. Each basic Pokemon in play get 30 HP. So there you go. You're at 110 after Bravery Charm. You're at 120 after Bravery Charm. You get that Lively Stadium in play. Suddenly, now you're beyond that Dusknoir attack. So really nice to have in here. As well as it'll give you a few extra turns if your opponent's active is a basic and you're saw blocking them. It'll give you some extra turns to just keep them locked up like that. 1 copy of Xerosic's Machinations. Now, this card is so devious and annoying. When, we're saw blocking our opponent, they're drawing cards, draw, turn after turn, or they're just playing a deck like Goldango. They have a huge hand, and we can just Xerosic's Machinations and have them discard until they only have 3 cards in hand. So really, really annoying card to have in here. It's almost like an Unfair Stamp, I'd say, but not quite as powerful. But just an incredibly annoying and strong card. 3 copies of Pokégear 3.0. Now, we do have a lot of random supporters in, well, not random, they all have a purpose, but a lot of different supporters in this deck. A lot of them should be used at different times. This is a very technical deck, depending on what matchup you're coming up against and what your opponent is doing actively, So finding which supporter we need to use that turn is super important, so we do have 3 copies of Pokégear in here. 2 copies of Night Stretcher, so if something gets knocked out, or we need to retreat, maybe we need to use Iron Bundle twice, then we can just use Night Stretcher, get something out. Yeah, if we need to retreat and we lose an energy, so it's scarce in this deck, we can just grab that back real quick. 1 copy of Pal Pad, like I said, very situational based deck, and a lot of different supporters for different purposes. So sometimes you're going to need a supporter twice that you can't get your hands on, so your Pal Pad is going to be allowing you to do that. 2 copies of Penny, which puts a basic Pokemon and all cards attached into your hand. So this is to pick things up, If we start the game with, say, only card is going to be a Fezandipiti, we do not want that getting knocked out. So hopefully we're going second with this deck. I suppose we could go first, but I think we're going to go second instead, because decks that typically need to go first are going to be setting up and growing into a big Stage 2 Terra Pokemon like Dragapult or Charizard or something like that, and our Mimikyus are going to take care of that. So we can go second with this deck more times than not, so we'll be able to penny that up. Or just if it's late game, we've been saw blocking, but they're starting to find ways around. We're afraid that they're going to draw into a switch, something like that. We can penny that Wellspring Ogerpon up and just leave our Mimikyu sitting there. 3 copies of Nest Ball. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it onto your bench. Pretty straightforward, really great for setup. We just look at what our opponent is playing, and then we set up accordingly on our first turn. 2 copies Bravery Charm. Basic Pokemon gets plus 50 HP. You know, we can smack that on Genesect to get Ace Nullifier going, smack that on Mimikyu for some extra hit points. We can really put that on anything, it'll work in this deck except for Toedscruel, but more times than not, it's going to be either Mimikyu or Genesect. And we absolutely could put one on Cornerstone or Wellspring, but we're probably going to be looking to put a Sparkling Crystal on one of those two. 2 copies of Boss's Orders. This is in here because obviously our opponent we're trying to stall them. So being able to pick a non-attacker and maybe saw block it, or something that has potential to knock out our Mimikyus, bring that up and take care of it right away. Super important card here. 1 copy of Iono, just great hand reset as well as disruption for your opponent's hand. 3 copies of Arven. Search your deck for an item and a Pokemon tool. Just great card, finding your setup, finding your tools, etc., etc. 1 copy of Turo. Instead of just running 3 pennies, 1 Turo, we have the 1 Turo in here in case we need the Toedscruel to get pulled away. You know, if the math comes out that they're 1 prize away and we got Toedscruel chilling there, Turo is going to be able to get that. 1 copy Colress Tenacity is finding a Stadium and an energy card. Now, the important thing is that the Stadium's nice, yeah, but an energy card, it doesn't say a basic energy, and we'll get to that in a little bit here. 2 copies of Crispin. Search your deck for 2 basic energy cards of different types. Attach 1, put 1 in hand. Just getting things going and attacking right away here. 1 copy Airy. Another incredibly annoying card to face off against. Your opponent reveals their hand. You may discard up to 2 item cards that you find there. More times than not, this is going to be rare candies, or this is going to be superior energy retrievals when you're coming against things like Goldango. And this is just an incredible card. And you can strip away game if your opponent has it in hand. 1 copy Buddy Buddy Poffin. This is for our setup. We can grab Sandshrew here, we can grab Toedscruel here, and we can grab our Mimikyus here. Where was I? Here we are. 1 copy Ultra Ball. This is grabbing some bigger things. You know, Nest Ball will take care of everything in the deck except for that Toedscruel. So like I said, if we see our matchup is something like Goldango, we want to get that Toedscruel going right away. So we're just using that Ultra Ball to find him. 1 copy of Switch. Now, if we say put our Sparkling Crystal on our Wellspring Mask Ogerpon, and we want to swap it out real quick for a Mimikyu, we don't have Penny in hand, don't have Turo in hand, we can actually use the Switch without having to attach for turn to get that retreat. Because Sparkling Crystal only allows it attacks to go down 1, it doesn't affect the retreat at all. So the Switch is nice to have in here, and that's just one situation, there are many, many more. 1 copy of Rock Chestplate. More times than not, we're going to be sticking this on our Cornerstone Ogerpon because it only affects fighting type, which there are 2 of. And if our Sparkling Crystal is occupied by Wellspring, then this can go on there just to give it 30 damage reduction. And then our A-Spec, like I said multiple times throughout this video, it is going to be Sparkling Crystal. This is going to allow our Wellspring Ogerpon and our Cornerstone Ogerpon to have attack costs for 1 less. So this will either take care of that fighting for our Cornerstone, or this will take care of the 1 colorless for our Sob. And then we have 1 copy of Earthen Vessel to find basic energy by discarding another card. Now onto the energy here. We have 3 Psychic, 3 Fighting, and 4 Mist energies. So obviously the Psychic's for the Mimikyu, the Fighting's for the Cornerstone. The Mist energy is for anything, really, because that's for cards that say your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out, paralyzed, poisoned, etc., etc. Prevent all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. So one of the playtests that I was doing to try and, test the deck, obviously, because I wanted to bring you guys a good list, we did come across it was some weird, ladder just reset, so there's a bunch of wonky decks. It was like Gyarados and Executor, and they were using that Executor, knocking our stuff out. We got some Mist energy in play, and that problem went away because that's an effect from the attack. So the Mist energy is super important, especially in matchups like that. And that's the whole list. It's pretty complicated, lots of one-offs and such, but I'll go ahead and hop into a playtest here, and you guys can see what it can do. Alright, so we're going ahead and hopping into that playtest here for our Ogerpon Mimikyu control deck against Rage Ghost 7. Like I said, this deck, we are going to look to go second so we can use a supporter right away. But, first is not the end of the world. This deck is not a fast deck. I have no doubt this will be a very long video. So, props to all those who stick it out to the end. No, we do not want to go first. Because like I said, most decks that want to go first are using EX Pokemon. And Mimikyu is going to be just fine with those guys. And there we go, Mimikyu to the active. One of the scarier matchups is going to be Gardevoir for us. So judging by the sleeves, I don't think that's going to be an issue. So it is going to be one of the new, one of the new Evolutions decks from Prismatic Evolutions. So yeah, he's going to get going here, get some of those new Evolutions in play. Judging by the sleeves, it's the Jolteon Flareon deck. And yeah, we're totally fine with that because Mimikyu cannot be touched by said Pokemon. Now, Mist Energy is going to be very important coming up here because not in this exact matchup unless the sleeves are just being deceiving, but I know Sylveon shuffles 2 of your cards into the deck, and that's not protected. It says prevent all damage done to this Pokemon. So if we get it shuffled into the deck, we can't do anything, and Mist Energy is going to save us from that. Though I don't think we have to worry about that because this looks like Jolteon Flareon. This is the one that, yeah, first turn. So he is playing 4 of the boosted evolutions, which I am going to have to disagree with. There is another Eevee that when one of your other Eevees evolves, you can then evolve it, and that's a really, really strong one. So what are we thinking here? We're going to attach the Mist Energy for sure. He might be looking to just start reckless charging because he recognizes he's not going to be able to attack us. I think we're just going to start going for setup here. Now, none of the Evolutions have... Not Sparkling Crystal. None of the Evolutions are going to have abilities, so Cornerstone Ogerpon doesn't help us at all here. I'm not sure which A-Spec this deck runs. We're not going to go for a Sabla. I think we're just going to stick with the Mimikyus this game. That seems safe. Yeah. And since this is a new matchup, obviously, I'm not super comfortable with it. I'm not very experienced. This is my first time coming against the deck. I've just seen it on other people's YouTube channels and etc, etc. So we'll see how this goes. Yeah, he probably is just going to reckless charge because he's afraid of that Mimikyu. And he does not have a Terra Pokemon in play, so he just wasted his Noctowls. It's a simple mistake, but a lot of people make it, so. Yeah, I think we're just going here. We'll grab the Town Store and a Psychic. Attach the Psychic. Drop in the Town Store so he doesn't get a big bench. So now he's bench locked himself pretty badly, I'd say. Grab another Bravery Charm to stick on a different Mimikyu. And yeah, go ahead and... Yeah, Ghost Eye. So he stuck a Defiance Band on his active Eevee. That's a pretty bad mistake, I'd say, because now he doesn't have access to it. You get Airy, so I think we might drop that in here, or we'll just Penny and start going for the, or sorry, Boss's Orders and start going for the other Eevees. Grabbing that Terra Orb. If he goes for the evolution, then we don't have to worry about it, because we would rather him have that evolution. We might drop in our one Cornerstone, just because everything he has, except for said Eevees, has abilities. And it would suck if he just starts chipping away at us with Noctowls, because, yeah, that would suck. What do you do? Basic energy attached to your... Oh. Weird, that's like anti-crushing hammer and stuff like that. So he grabs a Sparkling Crystal. Again, he's looking to use this, but he's not going to be able to, like, at all. It's weird. Search here for 2 and touch them. Yeah, okay. So, congratulations, you have that set up, but you can't use it at all. He only has 1 card in hand, so I don't think I'm gonna Airy right now. I think, what do you, 280 is your top, and then 130, 160, nice. I think we're gonna drop the Fez here. Grab 2 because we'll be able to get our. All right, so he would need to attach 2. He can do 130. I'm debating dropping in the Cornerstone right now. I think we're gonna hold on to it for now. I think that's fine. We are actually going to boss that other Hoot so that he can't use another Noctowl, because now he does have a Terra Pokemon to play. And searching for all those trainer cards is scary, so just gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, we got a Mist Energy, so we can drop it on that other Mimikyu. He's gonna boss. You can boss whatever. I mean, doesn't matter. He does not have anything left, so those were all of his EVs, unless he's got something in the prize cards, or he misclicked. That's a possibility as well. He grabs a rescue board off the town store. My guess is that's his only tool in the deck, other than obviously Sparkling Crystal. So what are we thinking here? Do we attach Retreat, go for knockout on Fan Rotom? I think we do, because Fan Rotom can actually hurt us quite bad. Yeah. We're going to attach Retreat. I suppose we probably should Pokégear first. We are going to use Town Store to thin our deck a little bit. Looking for that boss's orders here. There it is. See, Pokégear is just so essential in this deck. And they conceded. Alright, there we go. I mean, the only fast games with this deck are when our opponent gives us up. I think that pretty much gives us enough time. And we're at 21 minutes. Yeah, well, I suppose. Yeah, we'll make a longer video. We'll hop into another one here. Let's see if we can get another decent matchup like that. Yeah, as you can see, ladder just reset. Like, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday it reset, so. Oh my gosh, this morning I was out looking for prismatic evolutions. Went to my buddy owns a card shop, and he was like, "Oh yeah, just call ahead and I'll set some aside for you." And of course I slept in, so I didn't get to do that. Because he was like, "I'm not gonna take pre-orders because that's unfair to like," which I mean I totally get. Not taking pre-orders because it's unfair to the other people in your community. Absolutely understand. Looks like our opponent is going to go first here. Yeah, and he wasn't like about to make an exception for me, you know? So props to him for that. Alright, we got that Mimikyu. Took that one mulligan. Doesn't reveal much. Oh yeah, Charizard. Come on, baby. I saw the Mela. Hopefully this isn't Charizard Arcanine. But I mean, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. The only thing about Charizard Arcanine is it has that it has the one Charizard that the Pokemon Go Charizard, and he can hit around our Mimikyu. He can't hit around our Ogerpon though. So we might have to weigh some things out. Eevee, oh. Is this Flareon Charizard? How interesting. I mean, still no problem for Mimikyu here. Yeah, he's going to look to probably get knockout with Charmeleon. So right away, we are going to waste no time. And we are going to grab... Is it Bravery Charm? Puts us at 120. I don't remember how much Flareon hits for. I think it's 70. So I think we should be fine with the Bravery Charm here. And then... I kind of want a Xerosic. No, we're going to... Nest Ball, grab ourselves Mimikyu. Yep, Mimikyu. I would probably... See, I'm thinking of Arvening. Get some energy going. Maybe we'll Crispin. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to Crispin here. Oh, 2 different types, that's right. Just because we want to be able to get those attacks going as soon as possible. Which will be this turn, and we'll have knockout. So, yeah, I did not see that line at first, but now it's there. So now our opponent is in a terrible, terrible position. They only had the one Charmander out. Sandshrew off the prizes. So now all he has right now are EX and V Pokemon. Pokemon Iono plays onto this Pokemon. Yeah, so EV EX just acts as a normal EV basically, but more health. And a stage 1 Terra. This is kind of interesting because it's a normal type and it's a Terra. So this could... How much do you hit for? Just 200 flat? I almost feel like we could make a deck where it's basically Terapagos, but it's the new Eevee. I don't know, he only has 200 health, doesn't he? Yeah. But I mean, with Boufflant, that goes up to 260. I don't know, there's potential for that deck. How much do you hit for? Oh, it's 50. I thought it was 70. Oh well. I don't play a lot of Charizard, so... Ho-Oh. Now that's kind of scary. Shining Blaze, if you have any Terra Pokemon on the bench this deck. Ooh, that is actually really, really, really scary for us. Yeah, 200 damage from that Ho-Oh is not going to be fun. He's only got 2 cards in hand, so we're probably not going to Airy. I think we... Since he only has 2 cards in hand, we might go for Soblock. Yeah. Yeah, I think we go for Soblock here. And are you weak to water? You are. Now, honestly, I want to kill this Flareon, so this Soblock is not going to be... We'll just grab that. Is Sparkling Crystal's prized? Shoot. So we need an energy. I think... Yeah, retreat, Night Stretcher. Okay. Drop you in. Or stop. Or we can bundle, get the first 70 damage. He would need to attach twice. I think we're gonna do that. We're gonna hope and pray he doesn't have Crispin in those 2 cards in hand. We could have gone for the Soblock, but that's not very fun now, is it? Yeah. So we do get knockout on this Ho-Oh next turn, unless he can obviously get a knockout on us, then we'll be in a bit of trouble. Unless we top deck Crispin. If we top deck Crispin, we're actually in a pretty good spot. But I think we only run the 1, right? No, we run 2. We have 2. And our opponent gives up because they recognize, hey, we're knocking out that Ho-Oh. So, I mean, actually, 2 really fast games, thankfully, because our opponent just really gave up hope. So, I mean... The deck did what it was supposed to. It either stalled their opponent or stripped them of hope. It's a bit of a janky list, but it obviously works. And yeah, I hope you all have some good fun with this, and thank you all for watching. Comment down below what kind of decks you guys want me to see next, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.